That's okay. I've taken my time, and this is extremely informal, so don't worry. Someone's got a bit of noise in the background, so maybe that person should mute themselves. Right, so I wanted to start by a little question. So what do the following have in common? Driving, swimming, martial arts, and skydiving. Who can give me a little guess? Right, okay, so what I'd say that the thing that all of them have in common is all of them have an instructor. So depending on which of the four you have all done in the past, whether you've learned how to drive, swim, do martial arts or skydiving, you all rely on the expertise of an instructor. And I'm pretty sure that no one here would second guess the instructor if they're learning any of these skills. And so I've come to the realization that the same applies to trading as well. Don't second guess the instructor, don't second guess the strategy, but go along with what you're being taught. So that's the mindset that I have now. So and I think all of us fall victim to this. I think all of us, when we start this, especially with the excitement, we all fall victim to our ego. We tend, or maybe that's just, I'm sure that's not just me. So we tend to think, we're the exception to the rule. Yes, maybe some people don't do well in various trading techniques, but, I'm special. It doesn't apply to me. It's all going to turn out fine, for me. And the quicker we learn to get rid of our ego and put that in the box, I think the quicker we would get good at trading, whether it's HFX, FRX, or DCX. That's my mindset. And I've noticed that the more I get out of my own way, the better I tend to do. And for me, the big turning point for me was because I've been doing HFX for about 2 or 3 months now. Oh, sorry, can someone give me a one just to show that you can hear me? Because I keep forgetting to look at the chat. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Yeah. So, and a big change that happened for me was about 2 weeks. No, it's probably 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks ago now. And the first big change was somebody I signed up, they wanted to trade with me. So whenever I was trading, I'd just have a little small Zoom meeting and the two of us would be trading. And I found that by being online with her, it made me accountable. And I think the best moment of all is because I feel responsible for her because I signed her up. I want to make sure that she doesn't make any mistakes that are too painful for her, because we're all going to make mistakes. So the first thing she actually signed up for was the DCX package. And just in case you don't know, crypto is my baby. That's where I've got the most knowledge because I've been doing that for about 4 years. And when she joined, she had so much excitement, and I kept trying to calm her down. I said, no, risk management, don't do this, don't go too crazy. And then I applied that to the guidance I was giving her with HFX as well. So there's one particular day when we both had a really bad day. And then she said to me, well, I thought you said stop trading when you've had 2-3 losses. And I said, and then she said to me, so it's do as I say, not as I do, is it? so she humbled me. And so after that, I said, right, yeah, I'm not doing that again. So since then, about 2-3 weeks ago, I stick to the rules. I'll be honest, I've slipped up a couple of times, but I say 95% I stick to the rules now. I don't mess about. Going back to what I said before, don't trust your ego. Do not trust your ego. Just go by the strategy. Trust those that have been doing it longer than you. And get rid of your emotions, go with it, and then you'll be okay. So that was the first thing that happened. And then the second thing is when I started using Cash Trap Free. Can you give me a free? Anyone here that's using that already? Nice one. Yeah. And that was like, ooh, yeah, when I started using that, so basically, I don't know if any of you are using the double blessing strategy. I started using that about 2 weeks ago as well. And, whew, so I just started using that, listening to what they say. And because they actually have a similar mindset to me, they're patient. And that's good for me. So their patience rubs off on me. So it stops me from getting too excited, and I just follow their strategy. And the more I go along with what they say, so I combine that. And then what I also started doing is, okay, Cash Trap is the baby of, what's his name, Matty Pips. So I thought, okay, let me start watching the Matty Pips videos as well. So I started watching his basic training. And what I do now is what I'm learning from the Cash Trap, I'm learning by myself. I'm applying that while I'm attending the live lessons. And and it's just, it's keeping me calm. I'm basically trusting the strategy, and things seem to be going well. So can someone give me, say, a one if they're not using Cash Trap? Um, and then if they're not, I can go into that and just give it. Actually, I'll do that anyway and explain that. But just give me a one if you're not using it yourself. Cool. Okay, so let me just give you a quick amateur explanation and show you what I'm talking about. So obviously, because the forex market isn't live in the weekend, you're not going to see everything up. So if you imagine it's a weekday, on the right hand side of your screen, you would see the various currency pairs, and you would be able to click on them. And based on what you see there, you would then see on the right where you've got this, well, if you're new, what might look like confusing colors, you will see a point system. And the rule is, if you get anything from 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, I think I've been told you can get a 6, but I've never seen that. So if you get a score of 3 or upwards, it means that there's a strong possibility that the trade you're doing is going to go in your favor. So just to give a quick example, two of the things that would cause you to have a point in your favor, if you're trying to sell, you would want the line here on the RSI and the stochastic to be touching or going past the red. So if it's past the red on this one, that's 1 point. If it's past the red on this point, it's 1 point. You would get a red arrow pointing downwards, that's 3 points. And then you would get, the closer it is to one of these red lines that you see over here, that would be another point as well. So you would use that as to give you confidence and reassurance to do that trade. So what I tend to do now, I do that along with following the educators. They would be saying it anyway. And also I've started doing it by myself as well. So like I said, I'm not an expert. So when I combine that with two other things, I also make sure that I'm using the currency strength meter. And don't underestimate how important it is, because that can change within moments, I've noticed. Say, for example, you're in a trade and you want to go into that same trade at a better point, which is what I tend to do because I'm using pocket options. So if I want to go in again, because I don't have the rollover option, if I go in a second time, I will make sure I go in at a stronger price. But I've noticed that before I do that, I should always take do the due diligence before doing the next action. So I will click on this and I will refresh it to see the change, because you won't see that automatically. And the other thing that I would do is within pocket options, I will actually refresh what I'm seeing there as well, because I've noticed that sometimes what you're seeing isn't what's actually happening. And I find that just the act of taking all those steps, even that stops you from making impulse moves. And by taking all of those steps, you just have that much more confidence before you do something. So like I said, I'm not an expert, but I've just noticed doing these things. So literally just being patient, that's helping me a lot. And the other thing, actually, no, before I say anything, because I don't want to rant on too much, does anyone want to say anything? So I don't know, Rex, if you want to unmute, because I don't want it to be a kind of like, I don't know, presentation. I just wanted to chat informally with people to see what other people's experiences are as well.
Hi. Hello.
Ooh, there's a bit of feedback on that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, no, that's much better. Yeah, sorry, who's that?
Sorry, I wanted to ask Uncle, hi, I'm new.
Hi.
Hello, thank you. I wanted to ask, you've mentioned having to have patience to kind of go through all these steps and do your due diligence.
Yeah.
My understanding of the HFX is that it's almost instantaneous. I've done a few I did one of the trials where basically the educator's telling, okay, go in at this price, and then everyone's trying to match it because we're all on different brokers and so on and so forth. So how do you manage the patience to go through all of these steps when you've literally got seconds to place that trade?
Right. So that's partly why it's good to have Cash Trap. Well, I have a bit of an advantage because I have 3 screens. But even if you have 2 screens, as long as you have more than 1 screen open, if you have, say, the Cash Trap open on another screen, so you can use that as a guide to see if it's going towards the price that you're talking about. And another thought that goes through my mind is, another bus will be along in a minute. And I see it so many times where you think, okay, I must get it when they say. But sometimes you find that it will go back to that price anyway. Now, I get what you're saying, because sometimes it doesn't go back to that price, but that's part of the discipline that you have to try and instill within yourself. And also, practice makes perfect as well. You will get better at it. But I find that by doing those other things as well, because sometimes you won't click in the first place, not because you're slow, but because you're scared. So, and why would you be scared? Because you're literally you're only going by what they're saying if you're not learning it yourself. But once you start to learn it yourself, and you're not just going by what they say, you're going by what you're seeing on the app, etc. So even if they haven't quite said it, let's just say they said it about 2 minutes ago, when you see it get into the price yourself, you can execute it even if you don't quite hear it, because don't forget, sometimes there's a delay anyway, depending on time of day and who you're following. So those are some of the things that give you confidence. I don't know if that answers your question. If I haven't, please feel free to say. Oh, cool. Does anyone else have a question? Okay. Sorry, who was that?
Hi, Uncle Albert, it's Anita.
Hi.
You've been trying to master this strategy or studying HFX for 3 months.
Yeah.
But how long has it taken you to master the double blessings strategy?
All right. Look, I only started following double blessing about 2 weeks ago. So it was like, so when I say 3 months, it's it doesn't take long. So that's why I go back to don't trust your ego. It's the longer you go by your ego and emotion, the longer it's going to take for you to pick it up. So it's more a case of that, and that's why I mentioned by making myself accountable by trading with someone. As soon as you let go of your thoughts and just follow the strategy, then you will pick it up so much quicker. So in a sense, time doesn't really matter in terms of how quick it is to learn. And one thing I go by is partly by, because when I first started joining the academy, I've got the elite packs. I've looked at various different things. And when I followed the educators, the thing that gave me confidence is something I keep hearing again and again and again. Depending on which educator you follow, they say it took them 6 months, 12 months, 2 years to start feeling that they finally understood what they were doing. So that tells me is, in a sense, time doesn't matter, it's state of mind. That's what's important. So once you get the state of mind in place, that's when things start flowing. That's what I found. So time is almost irrelevant. I'm going to keep saying it again. Don't trust your ego, just trust the strategy. And once you genuinely start doing that, that's when you're going to start to see progress. That's my experience anyway. So yeah, double blessing, I started it 2-3 weeks ago, and just by applying that and actually following, oh yeah, that's the other thing as well. Because my first passion is DCX, I wasn't, if honest, I wasn't taking HFX seriously. So I was following the educators, but I wasn't bothering to learn anything. And the difference came when I started to actually, okay, let me sit myself down and start learning the strategy again, because by learning the strategy, even if I'm just following the educator, it gives me the confidence to click that button, because there's always that, I found that there's much more emotion and nervousness if you don't know what you're doing and you're just listening for what they say. You haven't given yourself the confidence to back up your decision and to be able to stay true to the strategy, if you see what I mean. I think I had another slide. What did I have in the other one? Yes. Okay. So, the reason I say maths not money, it's kind of like going by the strategy. Oh, by the way, can you see my screen? Let me make sure you can.
Yes.
Oh, you can see. Okay, cool. I was starting to panic there. Yeah. Okay. Right. So the reason I say maths not money is, and I know it's not always easy, but I think it's so important. Don't think about the money you're making or losing. Think in terms of the percentages, and I think that also helps me as well. So if I focus on that, rather than, oh, I need to make X amount of money today, that also makes me a better trader. So before I do something, now I'm much more disciplined in thinking, okay, is this 1 to 5% or less? And you have to have a strategy for the day. How many trades are you going to do that day? How many losses are you prepared to absorb that day? And if you have that mindset before you start trading for the day and you stick to that, it's much easier to start progressing. Because, and there's nothing I'm saying today that's new or universal. It's the same thing repeated. We've all heard it, and we all hear it on a daily basis. And it's one of those things that sometimes you just have to hit, it might be the 50th to 200th time before it finally sinks in. But once you start doing that, things start to improve. Because one thing that we all have to have in our mind is, if we take those risks, the more losses we take, the longer it's going to take to recover. And another thing that I do personally, which helps me, is let's just say I have a trade open. If I have 2 trades open at the same time, I do not have a third one active. So if there's 2 trades that haven't timed out yet, no matter how tempting it is, I wait for them to complete before I do the next one. Because if it turns out that those 2 are going to be losses, all I'm going to do is increase the loss by doing the third trade. Because especially if it's a loss, I feel compelled to do more trades than I need to. Whereas if I'm sticking to the strategy, if I know that my limit is 2 or 3 losses per day, that's it. That's the end of it. And the other thing I do is, because I've got elite, although I haven't perfected it yet, my strategy is to have, by doing HFX, FRX, and DCX, I'm spreading the risk in terms of spreading the mental attention as well. So if I feel that I haven't done let's just say I have a day where I haven't done well in HFX today. Okay, I've done it. I do something on FRX. I've split it. I've got different accounts, and I split it so I'm not associating everything with each other. And it's easier I find that for me personally, it's easier to to detach myself. And then the other flip side of it is, if I know that I'm doing well on, say, and it can go either way. If I know I'm doing well in DCX, if I have a loss on HFX, I don't feel it so much because I know I'm doing okay on something else. And for me, that's one of the things that I do to spread, to take away the temptation to overtrade. I split it up like that. What else? Yeah, and yeah, anyone got any questions? That's broadly speaking what I wanted to say today. And then maybe if anyone's got any tips of their own that they want to share with us.
Hello.
Hi.
It's me again.
Hi.
In terms of what I've learned, definitely patience is a big part of it. And FOMO is definitely a real thing, especially if you are listening to educators and you're in the very early stages of the journey. And then you see clear, and then you just get very excited, and those fast fingers, double tapping, that kind of thing, and then shutting the app because you don't want to see, just in case it all goes downhill. The excitement, the sitting on the edge of your seat, all of those things. I've gone through all of those, and every now and then I go through them again. But over time, I've definitely learned that it's a lot about patience. Definitely learned about risk management. Somebody was telling me that they were laughing at me when they saw that I was doing $1 trades. I said, yes, because there are certain trades where I'm not 100% sure that certain person, was laughing at me with 1% trades and now doing $1 trades themselves. Just when you don't have all the points in alignment, maybe like a 3-point trade or 2-point trade. I'm still learning all about the strategy side of things, but definitely patience, getting rid of FOMO, and realizing that if you haven't jumped in on a trade, it's still a win because you haven't lost your money to the markets or to the brokers. And I can't remember what the last one was. And mainly about risk management. Definitely. But it's been a hard lesson at times, but it's all a lesson, and I definitely feel like I've had a lot of growth in this. At the beginning, it was like being in a dysfunctional relationship myself. But things are really coming together, and I'm getting a lot more confidence. But hearing your top tips and your pearls of wisdom, I feel a lot more confident going forward. I keep on thinking that I don't have the time to learn the strategy, but in fact, you said time has got nothing to do with it. It's about the mindset, and I think that's been one of the biggest things I've taken from your session. So thank you very much for giving me the extra push to go forward and start actually taking things into my own hands rather than relying on the educators. Because the biggest thing is that we have to go by their schedule, and I don't always have the time to do it when they are on. And I want the ability to do it anytime, any place, whenever I'm ready. So thank you very much.
No problem. And you know what you said about the $1? Okay. I've been in the academy for just over a year now, but on HFX, my trades are $1 to $5. You know, I don't care. I go to it's the maths, not money. I know it sounds weird. I'm not interested in the money at this stage. It's how disciplined am I? Because you know, I can divert money from my crypto account when I know that I have the discipline needed to do well in HFX. And actually, that's the point I'm at now. That's why I'm kind of on a bit of a buzz this week, because I've been consistently disciplined for the last 3 weeks, and I'm thinking, yeah, do you know what? I trust myself now. So now I can start taking the next step. But even then, I'm not going to go crazy. You know, my trades might go up from $1 to $5 to, I don't know, 3 to 7. I'm sometimes people say I'm too patient, you know, but I'm more interested in being disciplined and going by the strategy, because that would give the rewards that I need. So yeah, don't think about the money. Think about your discipline. Watch your progress. See the pattern and fine tune it so you get better and better, and then you can start, you know, then A, you would start getting better, and B, then you can afford to even put a little bit more into your account, because you know that you've got the discipline needed to progress and steadily increase your account. That's my mindset anyway. Anyone? I don't want to keep people too long, actually, because how long have I had you guys here? Okay, yeah. So if no one has any questions, I'll keep.
I do have a little. It's not a question.
Sorry.
It's just. Put your thing on. It's not a question. It's just like 4 points that I'd like to mention, just in terms of what I do. It's very similar to what Uncle Albert has said, and obviously I'm trading with Anita as well, so we're seeing results, and it definitely is a bit of a mindset shift. So the first thing I'll say is, like, you know, the money that we've got in these HFX accounts, it is like another account. So for example, if you put £100 a month into an ISA, you're gonna obviously accumulate £100 every month, and then the interest on that money is not gonna be very much. Whereas we're learning a skill here where we can ultimately compound that money even more so as we get more versed in it. So I'm not saying to redirect that whole £100 or whatever into the HFX account, but what I will say is start to think about topping up your HFX account every month. You know, whenever it's payday, chuck a £50 in there or whatever it might be. I'm going to chuck in £100 every month just to, you know, top up if I haven't made the quota or whatnot. Like, I think the 5% compounding plan is starting to run away. I hope to grab it before it completely leaves us. But yeah, I feel like that is one point I want to mention. So think about actually topping up your account every month and treating it like, you know, a normal sort of savings account. Number two, so one of the rules that we're sort of abiding by here is that they're almost like two types of trades, especially if you're listening to the Double Blessing boys. It's like you have technical trade. So that is when, you know, you kind of see a floor, or you see a support, or you see a resistance, and you go for the put, or you go for the call yourself. And then you have the actual trades, which are the Double Blessing ones, which are on either the 15 minutes, the half an hour, the 45 minutes, or the hour. So those trades are definitely a high percentage of success rate. So you can just stick to those, and sticking to those alone is very good, because that teaches you the patience. Like, you can see price dropping and it's 43 minutes past and you want to get in, but the rule is wait till 45. And then you see all of a sudden it spikes down even further. So now you've got an excellent opportunity to get into the market, and you see that your currency strength is really strong. So it's definitely going to be a buy. So that is where I definitely agree with Uncle Albert in terms of following the strategy. It definitely does work. So there is that. What I was going to say in terms of how much you want to put on the trade. So what we're doing here is that on these technical trades where you're doing analysis yourself, I do 1%, and I don't do it to the exact thing. So let's just say my account is at £200 or 200 in there, or whatever it might be. So the trade I'll put on is a $2 trade. That's 1%, you know, thereabouts is 1%. And what happened is on Friday, because we was really following this AUD USD, was really following it, and we saw it drop. We said, wait. It hit the time. It dropped even further. Bang, we're in. And guess what? It dropped even further than that. Bang, we're in again. So what we just did 2 trades only. And both of those trades were $10 trades. So that is a 5% trade.
Yeah.
It's not going beyond 5%. So 2 $10 trades. And what they do, they both cleared. Both of those trades cleared. So all of a sudden, I am up, or we're up this week versus the beginning of this week. So that's a win. But the funniest thing is, my overall win rate for the week was 58%. So it's so funny how it works with HFX, because obviously if I just did $2 trades all the time, I'd probably be low. But because I had such confidence in the strategy, especially the Double Blessing trades, I could risk a bit more. And therefore I was able not to exceed the threshold of 1 to 5%. I took the 5% trade, and we cleared 2 trades. So see that I didn't break the rule of 1 to 5%. I didn't break our rule of maximum 2 trades, because what you want to do is, you know, price starts to plummet. You're like, oh, that's a better opportunity. Next thing you know, you're in 5 trades and currency strength is reversed on you. Now what? That's happened with Millie Mill a couple of times, so I don't trade about that many. But I'm not dogging Millie. I'm really loving Oladapo and Kembry. So just a final thing as well it feels weird to take 4 trades a day and to leave the market, because guess what? That Friday was 100%. That's weird, right? But it's actually true. And I was up that one day versus the 10, 12, 13 trades I'm doing during the week to try and, you know, catch the right trade. So that is why I risk small on my technical trades, where I do it myself, because I'm still learning, obviously. But for the double blessing on those timeframes, I definitely, depend on how confident I feel, I can up the money. And again, the risk's on me. So if I flop it, then I flop it. But I've seen that the success rate is pretty high with that strategy. So don't feel like we got to get rid of that, you know, oh, I've got to go back into the market. Because the thing is, then it'll be 4-1 or 4-2 or 4-3. And then you'll be kicking yourself because you could have left that 4-0 and you would have been nice. So there's a lot of learning to do with yourself. I think that this whole trading journey reveals so much about yourself, to be honest with you. Like you're now seeing how patient you really are. You're now seeing how FOMO really affects you. Do you know what I mean? It was so weird that I'm able to run a marathon. I had to train myself, discipline myself, but bring the market in front of me. Hey, problem. I'm double trading, twin trading, whatever. But as Dr. Io said, Mr. P600, clap, clap, clap. There is always another trade. Always. So
another bus will be along in a minute.
Sorry?
Another bus will be along in a minute.
Another bus will be along in a minute. Next thing you know, 3 buses just come along.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. But anyway, those are the nuggets. Those are the nuggets, people.
Actually, I do have a question. This is for anyone who's using pocket options. I'm curious, because we don't have the rollover strategy, how do you guys work around it? I'm curious to see, because I've got a couple of techniques. I'm just wondering what you guys do.
I start cussing the educator.
Rex, that is hilarious. I think I don't have pocket options, but if I did have pocket options, I would go in for like a longer trade than 3 minutes. I definitely wouldn't be doing 3 minutes on pocket options, just because if you can't roll over, you're pissed. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Yes, and also just to jump on Vicky's, apart from cussing the educator, so I do the same. So I will wait, because what you find is sometimes it hangs around the point of entry, it hangs around, and then after the 3 minutes, maybe like after 3 minutes at 30 seconds, then it skyrockets. So what I would definitely tell you all is that, you know, really look at the currency strength, because these the timings that the price action sort of falls on, the 15-minute, half an hour, 45-minute, an hour. If the price is strong and looks like it's actually going to go up, the likelihood is it's going to go up at some point. So what that means is, if you've lost a trade, you probably can still get back in, and it will probably walk away, as they say. It will definitely shoot up. And guess what? The wider the gap, on the currency strength meter. So on Crab, if you want to go to the live charts, well, you don't have to, but anyway, the wider the gap.
I'll put it up on purpose. 1 sec.
So for example, when I'm trading by myself, what I look at is I go straight here. I go straight here to the currency strength indicator. So not the charts, there we go. Yeah. So I'll look at this straight away. And so, for example, I know that AUD is in a buy position against the Japanese yen, for example. Can you see that? So let's gauge the room. Put a 1 in the chat box if you get that. If you see that AUD JPY is a buy, can you see that? Put 1 in the chat box if you can. But the reason why is because the strength is a lot stronger than JPY. So if it's not even a scale thing really, but it's basically, it's stronger. So what it means is that if price is probably on the chart's going to be going up, but once you start to see price reverse, then this is when the trade becomes interesting. And that's when you want the stochastic to be, in the undersold position, and the RSI to be in the undersold position, because the likelihood is it's going to reverse and continue going in that direction. You obviously want to check that it's an uptrend as well. But so if I was to see that trade and I'll see AUD JPY, and then I see on Cash Track 3.0 that it's a call, and I see that the currency strength is what it is, and I see that, the RSI and the stochastic are underneath, I think it's the red line, that is a guaranteed winner. That's a guaranteed walk away. I may even double trade on that one. And that is a definite 5% trade for me. When the numbers are close, when it's like 49, 43 or 56, 54, nah. Careful, just be careful, because it means that, you know, they're sort of equal strengths. So they might just hang around a little bit before they go in the direction you want to go in. So that is definitely a tip here, to go to this chart and see, especially if you want to trade by yourself. So you can also see that AUD USD is a strong buy position. You can also see that GBP USD is a strong buy position. GBP JPY is a strong buy position. I'm hoping that makes sense. Euro USD is a strong buy. Euro JPY is a strong buy, right? And so you can see that straight away. So what I would do is I would just go to these pairs and I would go and find them on Cash Trap. Another piece of advice as well is, if you're listening to Kemvry, he does great analysis, and sometimes he gives you about 4 trade ideas. I know on Friday he gave about 4: UCAD, EU, AUD, JPY, where he gave so many, and I was like, what do I do? But we just focused on one. Focus on one of these pairs, and you double up, because I do have 2 devices, but I can't be switching currencies and, you know, missing the time, and it's very time sensitive. So I would rather stay on that AUD USD as I did. And I got in once, it went lower, I got in again, and we both cleared the trades. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I've been talking too much.
No, that's true. And it kind of goes by what, I've forgotten who was saying it. Someone was saying about it's so time sensitive, but if you miss it and you are doing the strategies that Rex just said, keep an eye on the currency strength and what's going on with the scoring system, then that will give you the confidence to go in after the teacher has said it. Unless they said don't go in again, obviously, because, you know, I'm not an expert, but, you know, I can use that as a guide to, okay, if I didn't go in when they said it, if the status of the currency strength hasn't changed and the price goes back, you can go into that confidently, even though the educator might not be saying it, or they may now be looking at a different pair at that moment in time.
Sorry, can I ask a question? It might be a bit silly. So you just mentioned about AUD and JPY, it looks like you can go in for a buy. So what if you wanted to go in for a sell? What should it look like?
Well, while the currency pair is like that, if you're doing if you wanted to do a sell, you're counter trading. So if you go against the currency strength, it's a higher risk. There's always going to be fluctuations, but it's definitely going to be a higher risk. And the pattern that I've seen from the educators is, if you do a counter trade, if you do a trade that's counter to what the educator's saying at the time, they may say, for example, the educator saying it's going to go to this price, but it's taken a long time to get there. Sometimes they might say do a counter trade, but it would be a shorter time frame. So they might say it's like, say, a 1-minute trade or something like that. But you have to be aware that it's a higher risk. So I'm not at the level where I'd feel confident to do that unless the educator is saying that as well. So, but yeah, if you are going to do something like that, whatever strategy you're using, if it's 3 minutes, then it will be a 1 minute. But you have to factor in bear in mind the fact that it's a higher risk. So if you're taking a higher risk, if you normally trade, say $2, make that trade a $1. You see what I mean? So if you are going to do that, use a smaller risk. It's a bit like what Rex said. When he trades by himself, he trades with a smaller amount than he does when he's trading with the educator.
Okay, thank you.
Can I also jump in on that as well? So in a direct answer to your question, Abigail, you would want to see the reverse. So let's just say we're talking about AUD JPY.
Yeah.
If it's a sell, you're going to see AUD with a red bar, just one red bar. And then you will see JPY looking like what AUD looks like.
Yeah, okay.
So what it is, you know, there is a base currency and there's a quote currency. So the base currency is the first one, and then the quote currency is the second one. So if the base currency is weak, typically that means that we're going in a sell direction. So if AUD just had one bar and JPY had all of the bars, that means if you put them on a scale, the JPY is heavier than the AUD. And so the scale is tipping in favor of JPY. And so the trend is now going for a sell. So what Uncle Abu is saying, which is true, even though you have the AUD and JPY as it is right now, where the AUD is stronger than the JPY, you can take this trade for a sell, but typically it's probably going to be shorter because it's unlikely it will continue to reverse that long just because of the strength of the currency. So you can get in and probably instead of a 3 minute, do it like a 2 minute or a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's likely that between that time it's going to go back in the direction that it's going.
Cool. Thank you.
And also, just in case, because I don't know how new some people might be, if there's anyone who's wondering, what's a base indicator? So whenever there's a currency pair, the base indicator is the one on the left of the screen. So you hear Rex say AUD, JPY, USD, GBP. So whichever one is first, the base indicator is the one on the left. The base indicator is the one that's always going up. The base indicator is always the one that's going to be green or blue. So you always think in terms of base indicator, the candle's going upwards and the candle is blue or green. And then the secondary pair, if that one is dominant, it's going to be red and the price is going down. So just in case there's someone who's at a really basic or new level, I just wanted to say that.
Vicky has a question. She asked, what does double up function do?
Can you answer that, Rex?
Yeah. So what it is it's available for VD Forex and race option. And what it is so if you've got into a trade and it's a 3 minute trade, let's just say, you can double up and get in again, and the trade will finish at the same time. So if you, for example, see a better entry and you don't want to activate a brand new trade, you double up, and basically it will place a trade at your new point, and both trades will finish at the same time. So that is the benefit in the double up option.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. But so, you said they'll finish at the same time, but what entry would it finish at? Would both be at the lower one, or?
No. So don't forget, price is always moving. So price is going to do what it's going to do in terms of moving up and moving down. You've selected, let's use some simple numbers. Let's use 100 and let's use 80. So, and it's a scale that's going up. So price, you got in at 100 and then price has gone down and you've got in at 80. What you did is though, you doubled up. And in this trade is a 3 minute trade. So you got in at 12 o'clock and it's going to finish at 12:03. Both trades will finish at 12:03, but you want both trades to finish above the 100. If you've doubled up, if the trade finishes at 90, you will win one trade and lose the other. Does that make sense?
Okay, I get it now. Yeah.
You get it. So if price went up to, if it skyrocketed to 150, then you have won both trades at 12:03. And so what happens is, like, so for example, if on the hour you get in at 100 and then price starts to dip, and you want to get in again, but maybe you don't want to do a fresh trade, that's probably when you double up, because you can see where you might want to do it is that price dropped all the way to 50 and it's starting to spike up again, and then you get in at a 70 maybe, let's just say, because it spiked down and now it's spiking back up, the 70 is probably likely to win. And then we're just hoping that when the time reaches the end of the 3 minutes, that both trades would have won. So that is what the double up function allows you to do. It allows you just to set the same expiration for the same trade.
Thank you. I've got one other question. In terms of when to enter, is it better to enter like once the RSI and stochastic reach the line, or should we be waiting to the beginning of a new candle?
I would personally say wait till stochastic and RSI reach the lines, because the probability of them now going in reverse, i.e. in the direction that you want it to go, is more likely. What was the other thing? You said RSI, or wait for the candle.
Or wait for the beginning of a new candle, because obviously when a new candle opens, sometimes it then switches to another direction.
So I'll personally say both. So because it's a 4-point trade, let's just say 4-point trade. So if RSI and stochastic have hit the line, good, we're 2 points in. And then obviously we check the currency strength. If that's enough, maybe that's 3 points. Now we're just waiting for the candle to close. Because when the candle closes, we're going to know whether the currency strength is the same. We're going to know whether cash trap is calling a put or a call. So one thing I do, I don't advise everyone does this, is that if I get a feeling that this trade is going to become, say, a call and go in the direction I want it to, and I have all the indicators pointing in my favor, apart from the new candle, then I may go in for a longer trade. So I may go in for like a 5-minute trade. That's a risk because when the new candle forms and then cash trap refreshes, it might be like, oops, the currency strength has changed and it's called for a trade in the other direction. So that's why it's important to wait for the new candle, because you don't want to get in, because all of a sudden you're waiting for a 4-point trade. It's now actually become a 2-point trade, and it's more likely you're going to lose the trade.
And don't forget, that's the whole point of double blessing, because that's what double blessing is. You're doing cash trap plus you're doing the reversal, but you're doing the reversal on the quarter of every hour. So that's what double blessing is. So if you want to wait for the candle as well, then the best time to do that is at quarter past, half past, quarter to the hour, and that's when that's going to happen. And that is the double blessing strategy.
Can I also put a caveat in there?
Yeah.
Sometimes there is no trade ready at those times.
Yeah.
So don't try and get into anything, because I remember,
I had that yesterday. Right. That's what we were waiting for half past, and everything was ready, but the candle hadn't fallen. And I think even Kenry said, "Do it now," because if you remember, even he didn't wait, and it was an awesome trade. That one. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no. That's 100% true, because that is all again part of the FOMO, because it's like, 45 past, I missed it. I've got to wait another 15 minutes. Let me just try and find something. You're gonna lose. Yeah. So it's better that we keep our money rather than give it to the broker. That is something Dr. D, aka Oladapo, says. So yeah, man, that would be my advice there.
Cool. Should we cut it short? Because I don't want to keep for people to, because I think we've hit it now. I thought it would just be a couple of questions and we'd be on for about half an hour, but I've enjoyed it though, and I've definitely learned. I hope everyone's. Can everyone give me a 4 if you've learned something useful today?
We also have one more question ourselves, actually.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
And this is for if any of you guys know this. So if you guys are using race option or Vidi Forex, what's it called again? Rollover. So with the rollover, right, you are charged every time you do a rollover. I don't know who's using, maybe Vicky, but you are charged every time you do a rollover. But what is that like? Are you charged the same amount you're going in for the trade for, number one? And also, if you win the trade, do you just win the standard percentage, or do you win both trades? That's the bit I'm not sure about. And it's a question from Anita and myself.
Okay. I only have pocket options. I'm thinking of having another broker as well, but at the moment I only have pocket options. So I don't know if anyone else can answer that.
I think I definitely know when you roll over, more money leaves your account. I think it's 30% more. I'm not sure. I haven't really taken notes as to what happens to your account when you do then go and win the trade. If you get extra money or whether you just get the original money. I'm sure you must get the more, I would hope. But I don't know for sure. But I definitely know that once you roll over, some more money in your account.
I'll try it on my demo. I've got a Vidi Forex demo. I'll try on that and see and report back.
I think with the Vidi Forex, when you roll over, they will add extra to your money. But what I found out lately is the amount that is left in your account is not tallying. You know, like sometimes we don't really remember how much we've got when we start trading. And then there was a day that I did win the trade and I was expecting my money to go up. It didn't. So thank God I noticed that. So I have to refresh, you know, like just log out and then log back in before I did another trade. But I was thinking if I did another trade, if I didn't refresh it, definitely it might not reflect. And I've seen some comments on their thing as well to say, oh, their money is not reflecting. So I think we need to be wary of that and just try and check. So now I'm writing what I'm starting with before I start the trade down, so that I will calculate it myself when I finish trading then. Yeah.
refreshing is in terms of trading itself. Refreshing is so important. The number of times it's what's being said, especially in the lies, doesn't match with what you see. You need to refresh as a matter of habit. I say keep refreshing that screen before executing, because yeah, I think it does make a difference.
Abigail, your hand is up. Is that from the first question you asked before?
Yeah, ignore it. Thank you.
Thanks for helping me run this, by the way, Rex.
It's been a good session. Like, the only thing we're missing now is a live trading session where everyone's on. Like,
yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Because I know people are waiting for Cash Trap to show them some prices so they can take some trades. But you know what? What I'm thinking is, I want to tell everybody this. You can deviate from it if you want, but the 7 a.m. session every Wednesday with Dr. Oladapo is a must. It's at a good time when we're just getting up, and he does a lot of personal development and stuff and goes over his strategy. So he probably doesn't start looking and analyzing the charts till maybe 20 past the hour. So I would definitely advise. We've had really good consistency from him. And then we had a great session with Kembry. But with Dr. Oladapo, we really sort of trust him because he's very methodical and very disciplined. He doesn't even go back into the trade, even if it does reverse and all the rest of it. He's like, that's it, you've made that. So he does Monday to Wednesday at 7 a.m. Monday to Wednesday. I want everyone, for those, like, I know there's some people that have not been fully involved, but definitely you will start seeing the chat in our group go off, because Dr. Oladapo is very good, very, very good. So I would definitely endorse his session, 7 a.m. And the thing is with him, seldom does he just take one trade. Like, what you find is 8 o'clock and his session should be over, but he's still going because he's seen another setup and prices coming to where he wants it to go. And then it walk away, put it in the chat. Yeah, so that would be a session I would definitely advise.
And the music will wake you up as well.
Oh my God, come on. Praise and worship on a Monday. Praise and worship on a Monday, people. It's not gonna...
Well, I'll be honest, but I think you know this. I'm not religious, but the music still gets me going. You know.
Don't worry, we'll get you in due time.
Oh God. Anyone else got any questions?
If I would love to sit, well, no, I must ask my wife first, actually. But I love these kind of informal sessions, to be honest with you, because it's just a nice, relaxed environment. You can ask questions. It's not so restricted, and people can unmute themselves. So it's something that I would like to do. But it was good that you suggested it. So yeah, if anyone wants to jump in and have a sesh on a Saturday morning, preferably, then that's possible. But it's just that I know there are some people who are Seventh-day Adventists, and so they can't join us on these sessions. But yeah, I can probably talk to them separately.
Yeah, I'll probably do crypto ones as well. Well, no, I am going to do informal crypto sessions as well.
Coolio. I think it's only right then that we go out to so Uncle Albert, please close the session if you are ready to.
Okay, right. Well, thanks for attending. I was only expecting a couple of people, so I'm honoured that so many people came. But yeah, have a good Saturday, everyone, and take care of yourselves.
You too. Thank you so much.
Great.
Take care, everyone. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey.
Nothing can stop me, doesn't matter.
Come on.